Somatic reset begins when you press the point where body memory becomes a conscious choice. In the next few minutes, you'll learn a specific physical gesture that interrupts the automatic command to shut down and rewrites decades of unconscious obedience stored in your nervous system. There is a precise spot at the center of your body where all defensive programming can be cancelled, and you're about to discover exactly how to access it. This changes the way you respond to life, because what paralyzes you in the face of opportunity, what freezes your voice when you need to speak up, what makes you pull back in the very moment of expansion, all of that stops being destiny and becomes choice. If you leave this video now, you'll go on obeying inherited codes that were never yours, repeating cycles of self-sabotage that your rational mind can't explain. But before you touch that reset point, you need to understand what's really recorded there. The body stores patterns, and it runs those patterns like an operating system that, for safety, refuses to update itself. When you freeze before speaking, when you sabotage your projects at the moment of completion, when your creative impulse dies before it turns into action, that's not weakness. It's implicit memory being carried out by the autonomic nervous system, just milliseconds before your conscious thought can step in. Trauma doesn't live in the mind. It's written into the body's tissue as a survival protocol. Many of those commands aren't even yours. Epigenetics shows that defensive strategies are passed down through generations, biologically transmitted even before birth. You might be obeying a fear that once saved a great-grandfather, but now keeps you stuck in cycles of retreat and paralysis. What you call a block is actually ancestral loyalty, an automatic obedience to codes that once protected someone, but now prevent you from fully living. And there is a physical point in the body where that command can be interrupted. In the Hermetic traditions of ancient Egypt, the human body was seen as a living temple, sacred architecture where each point corresponded to a vibrational command portal. The sternum, the central bone in the chest, was known as the door of the temple, the place where life force could be sealed by fear or released through conscious intention. Touching this point with presence wasn't just a symbolic gesture. It was spiritual technology, a way to interrupt defensive patterns and rewrite the destiny written into the body. Modern neuroscience locates in this same region what it calls the autonomic convergence zone, the spot where the ventral vagus nerve crosses the cardiac plexus, regulating the feeling of safety or threat. What the ancients called a vibrational transition portal, polyvagal theory identifies as direct access to the nervous system, where a physical gesture can signal to the body that it's safe to turn off chronic vigilance. The sternum is not just bone, it's the password to your own code, and you are about to learn how to use it. Before you can interrupt the command, you need to recognize the exact moment it gets triggered. That moment has a physical signature. It's not vague, it's not abstract. It's a set of trackable bodily sensations that show up milliseconds before paralysis takes over. When you're about to do something that expands your reality, your body sends out warning signals: tightness in the solar plexus, sudden tension in your shoulders, a locked diaphragm that blocks deep breathing, a voice that falters or catches before it comes out. These signals aren't a coincidence. They're the autonomic nervous system entering what polyvagal theory calls the dorsal vagal state, the shutdown mode. It's not fight, it's not flight, it's silent collapse. The body senses that the situation demands more life energy than it believes is available, so it simply powers down. Dissociation isn't a psychological flaw. It's a survival strategy, stuck in the on position, like an alarm that was never turned off. The root of this shutdown lies in past events, either yours or inherited, where exposure, vulnerability, or expansion was seen as a life threat. It could have been a public humiliation in childhood, a punishment for trying to create something new, a harsh rejection when you showed who you really were. The body recorded, "There's danger here. Protect yourself by shutting down." And ever since then, whenever something similar appears, even decades later, even in completely safe environments, the protocol is automatically triggered. It's not laziness. It's not a lack of discipline or weak will. It's somatic obedience to a code that was recorded as a survival law. Your body is doing exactly what it learned to do, protecting you from something it still believes is there. And until you interrupt that command at the level where it operates in the body, not in the mind, it will continue running no matter how many positive affirmations you repeat or how many cognitive therapies you go through. Now that you can recognize the physical signature of the shutdown, it's time to learn how to cancel it. There is a specific gesture that works like a deactivation code, a physical touch that signals to your nervous system that the old protocol can be interrupted. And that gesture happens at the point where the body stores both the memory of the wound and the potential for healing. The sternum, the door of the living temple you inhabit. The moment you recognize the pattern is also the moment you choose not to continue it. When you feel the freeze setting in, when tension rises to your shoulders, when your diaphragm locks, that is the intervention portal. Don't try to push the sensations down. Don't force positive thoughts over the paralysis. Instead, go directly to the physical place where the command is being executed and touch that place with intention. Cross your arms over the center of your chest, placing your hands so they rest on the sternum, the flat bone that protects the heart. This crossing is not decorative. It is intentional pressure on the point of convergence between the ventral vagus nerve, the cardiac plexus, and what energetic traditions call the vibrational pericardium, the invisible membrane that surrounds the heart's field and regulates your ability to stay present or dissociate. When you touch this point with intention and presence, three things happen at the same time. First, the physical pressure on the sternum activates mechanoreceptors that send direct signals to the ventral vagus nerve, the neural pathway, responsible for restoring the social safety state, the one where you can relax, connect, and create without chronic vigilance. Second, the gesture interrupts the automatic response flow. The body senses that something different is happening and pauses the old protocol to investigate. Third, you create a somatic anchor, a physical gesture that can be repeated whenever the pattern tries to return. Cross your arms over your heart, placing your palms or fingers directly on the sternum. It doesn't need to be strong pressure, just enough to feel the bone under the skin, the warmth of the touch, the presence of your own hands at the center of your chest. Close your eyes or keep a soft, unfocused gaze. This helps shift attention from the outside to the inside, where transformation takes place. Now breathe, not a shallow breath, but one that expands the diaphragm and moves the chest. Inhale deeply through your nose, feeling the air move down to your abdomen, and exhale slowly through your mouth, allowing your shoulders to relax and your chest to open. This full breath activates the ventral vagus nerve, gradually shutting down the dorsal collapse state. With each breath, your body receives the message: there is no threat. It's safe to relax. It's safe to be present. While you maintain the crossing and the breathing, make a declaration, either silently or in a soft voice, of a new intention. Not a vague wish, but a clear and specific instruction. My body now chooses freedom of action, or I allow the new to happen safely, or my voice has the right to exist without fear. The declaration acts like a line of code being written into the somatic operating system. It's not self-suggestion. It's a neuroplastic command, the brain's ability to form new connections when clear intention is combined with an elevated emotional state. Hold the gesture for 30 to 60 seconds. Don't rush. This time allows the body to process the shift, for the new information to be integrated into the nervous system. During these seconds, you may feel warmth or vibration at the center of your chest, a softening in your jaw, a breath that finally reaches your abdomen. These are signs that the ventral vagus nerve has been activated and that your body is moving out of collapse mode. If tears come, let them. If deep sighs arise, allow them. What you just performed is not a symbolic ritual. It is a neurological intervention. By crossing your arms over your sternum, breathing with intention, and declaring a new command, you activated 3 levels at once: somatic, autonomic, and cognitive. This triad creates what neuroscience calls self-directed neuroplasticity, the ability to rewire brain circuits through focused attention, intentional repetition, and emotional charge. You're not pretending the old pattern doesn't exist. You're teaching your body that there is another possible response. In alchemical and hermetic traditions, this kind of gesture was described as a magical act, a moment when matter, energy, and consciousness operate as one to transform reality. The magic wasn't in the belief, but in the precision, touching the right point at the right moment with the right intention. What modern science confirms is that intentional physical gestures can shift emotional and behavioral patterns because the body doesn't separate the physical from the emotional. Everything is information being processed by the nervous system. And when you change the information at the somatic level, the mind follows. After the gesture, slowly release your arms. Don't rush this movement. Let your hands rest by your sides and stay for a few seconds, simply noticing what remains. Maybe you'll feel your breath naturally reaching your abdomen. Maybe your shoulders are more relaxed, your jaw less tight, your chest less guarded. These subtle changes are signs that the code has been updated. Your body is no longer blindly obeying the old protocol. It is listening to you, your presence, your intention, your choice. This practice is not meant to be done once and forgotten. It is an access code you can use whenever the old pattern tries to reactivate. When you feel the freeze coming on, when tension starts to rise, when your creative impulse begins to fade, before turning into action, return to the gesture. Cross your arms over your heart, take a deep breath, declare the new intention. In 30 to 60 seconds, the body receives the updates, and little by little, with conscious repetition, the new command becomes the default, not by willpower, but by somatic choice recorded into living tissue. And there are people who have already made this shift, who lived for years obeying the old code and after learning this gesture, felt for the first time their body stop repeating and start creating. Randall was 48 years old and worked as a nursing assistant in a public hospital. Night shifts, crowded hallways, body on autopilot for so long that he couldn't even remember the last time he felt anything besides exhaustion. The problem wasn't the job, it was what happened when he tried to leave it. Every time he thought about quitting, moving to another city, or calling the son he hadn't spoken to in 3 years, his chest would lock up like concrete. He would wake up in the middle of the night with the sensation of being crushed from the inside. It wasn't pain, it was absence, as if his body had given up on reacting to anything at all. One day, a co-worker mentioned something about a vagal shutdown, something he had heard on a podcast. Randall didn't understand a thing, but the word stuck. Vagal shutdown. He searched on his phone during a break and found something about crossing your arms over your chest to reset the nervous system. He tried the gesture for the first time sitting in the locker room, still in uniform, right before heading home. He crossed his arms, took a deep breath, and for the first time in months, his breath moved downward. It didn't get stuck in his throat. It traveled all the way to his stomach, pushing something out that he didn't even know was stuck. 2 weeks later, he called his son. His voice cracked at first, but it didn't freeze. It continued. 6 months later, he had transferred to another department. Not because the old one was bad, but because his body had finally stopped obeying the command of "don't move." It's safer here. What changed wasn't Randall's life. It was the way his body responded to his life. His shoulders stopped rising automatically when someone spoke to him. His jaw no longer stayed clenched when he woke up. And when he had to make a decision, the freeze didn't come before the thought. It came after, and by then, he had already chosen. This shift that happened to Randall isn't just part of a story. It needs to be sealed into your own body, now, so the old pattern doesn't take control the moment pressure returns. The physical marker that confirms integration is the breath finally reaching your abdomen with ease, shoulders resting naturally away from your ears, and a lasting warmth in the center of your chest, as if something has been switched back on inside. When you feel these signs, you'll know your nervous system has accepted the new instruction. The signal's gesture that brings you back to center whenever the shutdown tries to return is this. Place your right palm on your sternum, press gently, take 3 breaths through your nose, and whisper just to yourself, "I am here, 30 seconds, nothing more." This touch reactivates the somatic memory of presence and cancels the body's attempt to return to automatic shutdown. The return point exists for the moments when the old pattern insists on coming back. When the freeze begins, stop. Touch your chest. Inhale while counting to 4. Exhale while counting to 6. And silently ask yourself, is this danger real right now? That question breaks the cycle and brings you back to the present, where choice can happen. And when you do this consistently, your body finally understands it no longer needs to carry out orders from a past that no longer exists. It understands that it can choose, that it can create, that it can exist without constantly being in protection mode. And that is exactly what we need to talk about now. What you've called a block your whole life was never weakness. It was your body following protection orders that someone, somewhere, once recorded as a survival law. Every time you froze, pulled back, gave up at the last second, it wasn't self-sabotage. It was somatic loyalty to a code that once saved someone, but now keeps you trapped. Your body wasn't working against you. It was protecting you from a danger it still believed was real. And the difference between living on repeat and living creatively is in teaching the body that the present is not the past. Now you have the access code. The somatic reset point is not theory. It is physical intervention in real time. When you cross your arms over your sternum, breathe deeply and declare a new intention. You are not just calming the nervous system. You are rewriting decades of defensive programming in seconds. The body finally understands that it can release chronic vigilance, that it can stop executing inherited commands, that it can choose presence instead of collapse. This is not self-help. It is vibrational sovereignty, the moment you stop obeying the past and start leading the present. Spinoza said something that few truly understood. No one knows what a body can do. He wasn't talking about physical strength or endurance. He was speaking of untapped potential, of abilities blocked by fear, of life trapped inside commands that were never questioned. The human body is a portal of infinite creation. But when that portal is sealed by trauma, by ancestral loyalty, by defensive orders that became patterns. You live only a fraction of what you truly are. And the gesture you learn today is the key that unlocks that seal. God did not give you a body to be a prison. He gave you a living temple, a sacred territory where every gesture can become prayer. Every breath can become reconnection. Every conscious choice can become alignment with the greater purpose that brought you here. When you touch the center of your chest and declare a new intention, you are not just changing an emotional pattern. You are restoring the original relationship between spirit and matter, the one where the body stops resisting and begins to serve. And in that moment, what once felt like destiny becomes choice. What was repetition becomes creation. You no longer need to live obeying codes you didn't choose. The body has just learned that it can stop protecting you from threats that no longer exist and start building with you what doesn't yet exist. And when that happens, when the shutdown stops being automatic and becomes optional, your entire life changes. Not because you defeated something, but because you finally stopped fighting against yourself. The somatic reset is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning, the first time you walk without carrying the weight of everyone who came before you. If this video resonated with you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the revelations still to come. If you'd like to support the mission of Transcend and help bring this wisdom to more people who need to rewrite their body codes, consider becoming a channel member. Your contribution keeps alive this current of knowledge that flows across generations. I want to know, did you feel the somatic reset happening in your body? Write in the comments, I rewrite the code that programmed me to freeze, and my body finally chooses to create. This statement seals your choice in the present and cancels your obedience to the past. Share this video with someone you know is stuck repeating patterns they didn't choose. And don't stop here. Click the screen and dive into another transformational portal on the channel. Because every conscious gesture you learn brings you closer to the sovereignty that has always been yours by right. Remember, when your body stops being a prison of inherited commands and becomes a territory of conscious choice, you finally stop living the life of everyone who came before you and begin to live your own.